since we got a lot of Georgia Tech fans. Let's just look and see how this all played out for them. Obviously, Florida State's schedule got tougher. There's a lot to get into about that, including what's going to happen with the Florida game. That's still to be determined as well. But the other big piece of news is the start date. Mm-hmm. Is the start date for the ACC is the week of September 7th through 12th. Now, the reason why that's intriguing is I did Gator Bites today, and I told Hacker this. The one thing that has confused me in the last week was all of a sudden the NCAA saying that you can play week 0 games, and Oklahoma announcing that they're going to have a week 0 game. We've never heard anything about the schedule being moved up. Mm-hmm. We've only heard about the schedule being moved back. What's going on? I mean, why are we even talking about week? I mean, I understand conceptually you have a week 0 game, you don't have a week 1, so you've got 2 weeks to work out any kinks if anybody tests positive, right? Whatever. I think either everybody does it or nobody does it when it comes to that.
Well, I think the thing about it right now is that the NCAA is leaving it to everybody to make their own decisions.
So which is a terrible decision.
Which is terrible. It's what the FHS saying. Yes, basically. But if by giving week 0, if the ACC did move to so let's say they still did the +1. Mm-hmm. If Florida State and Florida cannot get it done because the SEC is not going to allow them to do it, now you still have the opportunity to make it West Virginia. You still can do your +1. That's the only thing.
Or stay in state. Go FIU, UCF, whatever.
Right, but I think that I'm only saying that because of what was scheduled and the money implications for it. A bigger game, and Georgia's still allowing venues, and I think that's really the only rationale for it right now is you are trying to get it in before they shut it down, potentially.
Yeah,
or add more restrictions.
Yeah, and I there's some credence to playing a game and having a week off, like to start the season. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I think that may be the play. Is like last year, Florida had 3 bye weeks because they played a week 0 game. Like if you start week 0 and you push everything back a week at the end of the season, now everybody can have 4 bye weeks. Okay, that just gives you flexibility. If you really want to get the whole season in, have that kind of flexibility. So I understand that part of it. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Georgia and Virginia canceled. That game has officially been canceled. So we're starting to see, it's the end of July, we're starting to see the movement that we all thought we would see. But again, a fluid situation. I wouldn't read too much into anything other than cancellations at this point.
Yeah, well, the only reason that game was canceled is because of what has to be. Georgia, we're assuming the SEC is going to be something similar. Georgia can't play Virginia and Georgia Tech.
And Georgia Tech, right.
So Georgia Tech, that would be their +1.
Who's Virginia's big rival?
I don't know.
Is it Virginia Tech?
Virginia Tech.
Which is a conference game.
I don't know who else they would have.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably 1AA. Richmond has gotten their number a few times in recent history.
But you're right. It didn't make any sense for Georgia. It's really the bigger thing. Because if you're Georgia, you want to play Georgia Tech, not Virginia.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think a couple things that we're learning now is the SEC is always going to try to be the last person to make a decision.
Right.
And so we'll probably get something from them tomorrow or Friday. I would imagine tomorrow. But are we also seeing a temporary halt to any neutral site games?
Yes.
Like there's no benefit to them right now, right?
No benefit. And then again, like you've got some games, some places don't even know if they're going to play. So that's really, not play. No, they're going to have fans. So that's really where you got to go. You got to check that part out.
So a couple things I want to get to when we come back is I want to get to the fan portion because Hacker and I on Gator Bites had an interesting conversation I want to bring you in on. Should it be a mandate that everybody has the same number of fans? I say no, but it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting conversation that we haven't talked about. I want to get into that. I also want to dive into the schedule. So we're going to actually break on time so we can spend a longer segment actually looking at Florida State's new schedule. We always spend a whole show looking at these schedules. Well, here we go. We've got a whole new schedule for Florida State, a whole new set schedule for Clemson. Miami, Georgia Tech, even Notre Dame. I want to get into all of that coming up next. Are we good? Yeah, we just need to mute that. sportsden. Thank you guys for joining. A big news day for college football fans everywhere, especially ACC fans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting places. Just see if we can play this thing out at this point.
Yeah, closer. I'm going back to, I guess if I was 50-50, I guess I'm back to 75 now.
75 in the good?
75 in the good.
See, I was more negative than you. I was like 70% certain that we weren't going to have a season a month ago. Now I'm getting closer to 50-50.
I just know I never question greed. Good old fashioned American greed.
Mm.
Like I know when money's involved, they're not gonna leave the chips on the table.
Right.
So that's the reason why I firmly believe in it. So
let's get to the schedules. So Florida State, there's one big piece still missing, and that's the last game of the year.
Right.
Whether or not Florida State is going to play. And that's up to the SEC on whether or not they're going to allow the +1 format. Mm-hmm. There's rumors out there that they will, but it's got to be in the same state, which is fine for Florida State. That works. UCF may be a winner in this in some way, shape, or form if Florida State is not able to play, because then Miami and Florida State's going to need a game. UCF may finally get what they've been asking for if they can make that work.
I know Miami there was talk of a guy, was it Barrett Sallee or whatever, one of the guys. He said that Miami their +1 is going to be against the powerhouses of Wagner, University of Alabama at Birmingham.
I saw that.
Or the Temple Owls. It would be one of those three that would be there.
Well, they don't want a piece of FIU.
Well, yeah,
they learned that last year.
They've learned.
Right. You can't just roll into FIU and expect a victory. Let's look at Florida State.
That was at FIU?
Now, remember that was the one at the Marlin Stadium?
Oh, man. You know, Miami's not opposed to going. They're road warriors.
They'll
go to a smaller school.
They'll go to Toledo on you.
To the Glass Bowl, because, it gets down to the Glass
Bowl. Do you have FSU schedule?
Yes.
All right, read that off.
No particular order.
Oh, so they don't have dates yet?
They don't have dates yet.
Okay.
Like I told everybody, they're going to blow up the schedule and place them the way they need to. But you've got Clemson, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Pitt, University of Virginia at home. Those are the home games. Duke, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina State, Notre Dame on the road. That is who Florida State has to play in their 10-game conference league.
Is that really that much harder?
Yes.
Give me the harder games. Notre Dame, obviously. You lose Boise.
You lose Boise. Boise or their Notre Dame is clearly better than Boise or West Virginia. Let's just put that out there.
Well, sure. So give me one of those.
Two ACC games that are harder are North Carolina is better than Boston College. North Carolina is better than Syracuse. Those are the two games that Florida State dropped. I'm going to argue that Georgia Tech is better than one of those two right now. You got to remember, Boston College lost a lot.
I'll go with you on that. No, I'll go with you on that.
So that's the reason. It's not so much that Florida State all of a sudden actually Florida State does have one of the hardest schedules. Let me see if I can find the tweet where they talked about, like, based on the rankings of where people are at.
Let me ask you this, because you've been saying all along they should win 9 games. Right?
Yes.
Since Mike Norvell was hired, you've said the expectation in your mind was 9 games.
The standard is the standard.
What is it now?
Well,
looking at the schedule,
I think 7. I think they got 7 games. If they went 7-4, I wouldn't be upset. Because I'm assuming Florida's going to be the last game on the schedule. They go 6-5. Willie could have done that. That's what Florida State has done the last few years.
So so Clemson. Y'all play Clemson.
Yes, Clemson.
So Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida. Who's the fourth one?
Toss
up between one of the other 3 mid-tier.
So here's what it is. According to Phil Steele, power rankings, FSU has 6 teams rated ahead of them on the schedule: Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida, UNC, Miami, and Pitt. Yeah. Now, Pitt is the school that I believe Florida State can win because they have overall it's a better team, except for I place tremendous value on the trenches. So the trenches is really where Florida State is going to always struggle. And Pitt,
they're faster.
Pitt?
No, Florida State.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is but Pitt's D line is so good, and Florida State's D line has been O line has been so atrocious that that's a matchup that I don't know if James Blackman comes in with PTSD when he comes in there, or worse, everybody and I'm all for if Chuba Purdy, whoever's the quarterback's the quarterback. I want to critique it. Everybody has a job to do. The coach's job is to coach, player's job is to play, media's job is to critique, and the fans' job is to consume and enjoy all of it. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe Chuba Purdy. That's not what I want to see if I'm a true freshman coming out and seeing Pitt's D line, which has some it's loaded. Same thing with Miami D line. Same thing with Florida's D line. There's some Florida State's going to play some pretty good D lines, but I wouldn't want Pitt early. So I mean, those are the things that's the reason why I believe that game is a little bit scary to me. Now you got Louisville, who everybody is touting as much improved. Everybody else, I mean, I don't know. Georgia Tech, I only say Georgia Tech gives me some fear because they beat Miami, and I do believe their coach, once he gets it going and if he gets those guys believing, they can do it. And ain't nobody afraid of Florida State, in particular their offensive line. The thing that Florida, if you're
be dialed into that game, bro.
If you're playing, and then that's the other thing too is that we'll see. There's some guys who have there are 2 games here that Florida State fans should really, really be intrigued by and afraid by. You got North Carolina, with what Sam Howell was able to do, and you had Sam Howell, and Sam Howell decommitted.
Right.
His decommitment was a little bit different than, however we want to say. I believe that it did not happen the way Florida State fans want to believe it happened, because we have this idea that Mike Norvell is just this badass and is just a straight shooter and does all this. I'm not saying he's not, but he's much nicer than I'm going to fly. Excuse me. He has much better value of his resources and time than to fly a private jet from Tallahassee, Florida to Jacksonville to just say, peace, jet.
Right.
When he could have done that on the phone.
His first visit.
Yeah, his first visit. He could have done that on the phone. And I know for a fact, as I told people, I think I told you, didn't I? I told you who called me while I was in the middle of listening to Mike Norvell's press conference.
You called me while I was training Jeff.
Right. So the person who called me telling me, James, we want him, is a guy that everybody trusts and loves. So, I mean, but again, Jeff Sims has all the ammunition in the world to want to play at Doak and embarrass you. And what you want to hope is that you get him early.
Right.
You don't want him to get. Well, I mean, I'm just going to assume you don't even if they do go. Let's say hypothetically they win 3 games again. That end of the season, he's going to be a lot more confident because he's got more reps.
Right.
Get the young guy early with the defensive line being your strength right now at Florida State, and let the chips fall where they may. But those are the 2 games that are intriguing, because if you lose them, and there's a possibility that you can. North Carolina, people will give you the benefit of the doubt. But if Jeff Sims comes into Doak, or Doak, as his father says, and he performs, it's actually a lose-lose. If he performs well, if he performs better than the guys that you have, if he's performing, and your guy is sitting on the bench, the fan base who is right now starting to question, which they weren't questioning, they're starting to question everything, is the question's going to get a little bit louder if you're not winning games.
Oh, no doubt. Let's look at Clemson. Because when I trained most of the day today, when I got on the Twitter machine, all I saw from FSU fans, and we're not FSU fans, ACC fans, was what a layup they've given Clemson.
Wait a minute. This is my first time looking at Clemson's schedule. This isn't a layup.
I think what they mean is there's no North Carolina, and they've got Notre Dame. They do play Notre Dame.
Yeah, I thought they got Notre Dame, Georgia. They got Notre Dame, Florida State, Virginia Tech. So Forget that.
Here's their home games.
Yeah.
Their home games are Boston College, Miami, Pitt, Syracuse, and Virginia.
So that's 2 teams that are considered 2 of the better teams on the other side of the bracket.
Talking about Miami and Virginia.
Pitt, I forgot all about Virginia, but nobody's talking about Virginia this year because of who they lost.
Right.
But Pitt is one of the teams that everybody's talking about.
Okay.
Right now. So fine, like you got the team that a rematch of the ACC championship, a team that played in the New Year's Six Bowl, a team that everybody says trending up, 2 teams that everybody says trending up, and the University of Miami and Pittsburgh at home. That's a lot better than what they had.
Their away games are Florida State, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see where they got off easy on this. Okay, they don't play North Carolina. They don't play Duke. They don't play North Carolina State.
North Carolina State's not any good this year.
Who else do they not play? Louisville.
Louisville's not any good.
Right. I don't think they got off easy.
Louisville's considered improving, but when you're talking, like if I thought Notre Dame wasn't on their schedule, but if this is if this was released by the ACC, that they got Notre Dame, Florida State, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech. If you were talking about who are the best teams in the ACC, you would argue that those 5 teams are some of the best teams in the ACC.
No doubt.
So you can't say a team has the top half of the conference on their schedule and they got off easy.
I want to look at Notre Dame's schedule. Their home games are Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Louisville, and Syracuse. That's pretty soft, except for 2. That's pretty soft. Wow, their schedule is soft. Boston College, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Pitt, and Wake Forest.
Now, them not having Miami is wild. Like that should be that should be a game that Notre Dame has to play. Even when if they're not in the conference and they play that rotating schedule, they shouldn't play Miami every 5 years. They should play Miami every 2 to 3. And it should be by the time this really happens in the next 10 years, we ain't gonna be able to call it this. But I want the Catholics versus the Convicts.
Mm-hmm.
I want that game. Like
right.
that game. The history of it is just I want. If Manny ever gets them back, I want Manny pulling what's my man, Jimmy Johnson, where he's beating the hell out of him, and they're like, "Well, isn't that not classy?" Like, no, my number 2s practice all year too. They deserve to be able to go in there and get the score too.
But I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the Notre Dame thing because for the ACC to get Notre Dame to share in revenue, give them whatever schedule they want. Yeah. If they're playing an all ACC schedule, you give them whatever those jokers want. They're that big of a deal. So the fact they've got Clemson on there, the fact they've got Florida State, North Carolina, okay, cool. Cool. For them, you got to realize the games they're losing in this. They're losing big games. So this is a whole new schedule for Notre Dame.
Right.
I mean, you lose USC, you lose Michigan, Arkansas. I mean, not that big of a game, but the service academies, which are a big rivalry for Notre Dame.
Maybe.
So, I mean, it's...
They haven't lost Navy yet.
They haven't?
No, because the +1. That's one of the scenarios that's being played out.
I got you. Let's look at Miami's schedule. We've talked about how soft Miami's schedule has been all year long. That changed.
Yes.
Their home games, Florida State, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Pitt, and Virginia. Their away games are Clemson, Louisville, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest. If they would have slid Notre Dame, as you suggested, they probably should have.
That would have been bad. They would have had the hardest schedule.
Yeah, they would have. That
would have warmed my spirits.
Now, Miami.
Now, the problem is with this is that this might none of these teams these players they're not gonna be like, oh, we can fall asleep. Florida State's a rivalry game. You lost to Georgia Tech, you gotta respect them. You lost to North Carolina, you gotta respect them. Pitt plays you hard all the time. You got them home. At least you ain't got to worry about the snow.
Virginia was a dogfight.
Yeah,
last year.
Clemson, you've only scored 3 points it's like 3 to 300.
Yeah.
Louisville, you can lose to Louisville, but whatever. NC State is like NC State and Wake Forest are like the only 2 games that somebody has to probably draw it out of you. If Miami can go,
because Vatech's a rival for them,
dude. If Miami, and this is scary. It's spooky hours right here.
Okay.
If Miami wins 7 of these games, can somehow win 7 games in conference, dude, it's gonna be stupid down there.
What do you mean?
Like,
you talking about recruiting?
They're already recruiting well.
James, they're gonna win 7.
I don't know, man. Like, put it like this:
they'll be favored.
They lost 2 games.
I got you, but they're going to be favored in every home game. Florida State, Georgia Tech.
It depends on when they play North. It depends on when they play North Carolina.
Okay, so that may be the one.
Right, I give you that.
They're going to be favored in every away game except for 1.
2.
Who's the second
They're
one?
not going to be favored when they go to Blacksburg.
Man, I'll put a bet on that one.
I gotta look at hold on, before I can even think about doing it. I gotta see the actual.
Yeah, I'll put a bet on that one.
Yeah.
I bet you, like North Carolina, I bet you is a 3-point either way. The only game they're going to be big underdogs in is Clemson.
Yes.
The rest of them, they're either favored or a pick 'em or a field goal game. Like, and here's the thing about Miami, and I'm not taking a shot on this. Like for Miami, the last couple of years, they've played without a home field advantage for the most part, except for when they play Florida State or somebody like that. Now, that don't matter. Doesn't matter. Nobody is going to have a full stadium. Right. So I actually I'm the other way around on this. I think Miami can win 8 or 9 games.
If they do that, then I mean they're going to be on point.
Like you could make the argument that at the end of this whole thing, because Miami and Notre Dame doesn't play each other, you could have a Clemson undefeated, which we all expect, right?
Right.
And then you could have Miami and Notre Dame tied, winning percentage-wise, since they don't play each other. Like that's a possibility. And I'm not trying to discount Florida State or Pitt or any of these other teams, but looking at the schedule, even North Carolina doesn't play Notre Dame. Heck, North Carolina's got the easiest. No, they do play Notre Dame. They don't play Clemson. So they could be a 1-loss team instead of Miami. Like there's a couple different ways where you could look at the end of this. You could have Clemson, and then you could have 2 teams tied because they don't play each other. And I'd be interested to see what the tiebreaker situation looks like. Obviously, head-to-head, but if they're not playing each other, they don't count. Like that would be interesting to know as we go along in the season as well. The topic that Hacker and I got on earlier was during Gator Bites, the podcast, the award-winning podcast you can go listen to, was Hacker asked me, he's like, is it fair if Florida, hypothetically, is only allowed to have 25,000 fans or 20,000 fans, whatever it is, but Tennessee's allowed to have 60,000?
Is life fair?
What my feeling on it was I don't know. It's not fair, but it needs to happen. If there's an area of the country that can pack a stadium out, then that's what needs to happen.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what you're like. Is it fair that you have a $10 million recruiting budget and I have a $5 million one?
Right.
Like, we want to start. No. That's
and he wasn't saying it was.
No, I got that part. What I'm saying, it doesn't work. Like, okay, now we got to balance it because I don't have the advantage.
I mean, you make the argument: is it fair for one team to have 100,000 seat stadium and another one have 50,000?
Right. If it's what it is, what it is. If you wanted it different, you should have told your people to wear a mask and take the quarantine seriously. Especially, but the reality is, I personally don't think most SEC schools they're going to either have 100% or 0%. Because just think about it like this. Florida State is more like the Jaguars when it comes to season tickets. You don't have a majority of your season tickets sold.
Right.
Let's say if you have 35,000 season ticket holders or seat tickets sold, then you're good.
Right. Walk-up crowd.
If you can go to 25% capacity, yeah, you can go to 25% capacity a lot easier. Like when they come back to me and they say, James, we understand you have your season tickets. We're only having 5 games. Just refund them. Just run your mouth.
Right.
I watch the games at home. I'd rather. There's a lot of other things that I can go do. I can miss a season. I can watch the game.
And there's a lot of people that volunteer to do that because of the comfort level.
Right. But again, let's say that's 5,000 people that get offended.
Right.
You can smooth that over. Give me an extra parking pass next year. Mm-hmm. Do some other things. Let's say Florida's 65,000.
Right.
I don't know what the number is.
That's probably about right. Yeah.
And you only can seat 30.
Right. You're pissing off a lot of people.
I'd rather not piss. I'd rather just say it's no favoritism.
Right.
0%. Because I know this. If I write $1 million check and I want tickets, then I better be able to get my damn
Well,
ticket.
I heard Frangie say the other day on his show that their estimate is there's over 15,000 bull gators, which is the highest level of giving.
So that's almost what you're going to be able to put in there.
Right. Right, and
that's no home field advantage.
No, that's not.
A bunch of old people. Okay. I mean, what's that guy? We haven't talked about him in a minute.
Agolini?
Tony Agolini. I know Agolini might be in there.
Right.
He's relatively young, but everybody else ain't.
Right. No,
you got Stumpy Harris in there jumping up and down on the 50, yelling and screaming, talking about Stumpy's like 85 years old.
He got a whole road to himself.
He already has that. Technically, nothing would change for something.
Well, my bigger point on the podcast was this is one of those situations where two things. I don't think the home field advantage is necessarily a crowd this year. I think the home field advantage comes from the lack of travel because the travel is going to be different than what it's been in the past. Usually these guys get in the night before. There's these big buffets. They're in these big hotels, conference centers, all that kind of stuff. That is maybe not going to be like that. There's not going to be buffets. I know that. So it could be a little more strenuous or a little less normal. And so your home field advantage could truly come from just not having to travel to a certain extent. The other thing is if I'm a Florida player and just using the hypothetical of Tennessee, and they can have 50, 60, 70,000, I welcome that for a sense of normalcy. That's exciting. You know what I mean? Like, I would want that. I would want to go on the road a couple times and play in front of the people because that's what I've dreamt about doing my entire life. And now I'm at Florida or now I'm at Florida State or wherever it is. Let me do it as much as I can. Not to mention, it's just better for the economy. If you've got somebody that can do that, man, people have been holed up in their house. If they want to go, let them go.
I mean, I think a lot of it, I may not, like when I'm mad, because I would have liked to play Georgia Tech in Atlanta.
This year?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather, it's more fun. Because I don't know the next time we're going to play Georgia Tech. I mean, but my point is this. Actually, like Notre Dame. Like, I missed Notre Dame a couple years ago when we played up there. I might fly to Chicago.
Oh, that's cute that you think that they're going to allow you to do that.
To fly?
That was my next point. How are they going to manage people coming in from another state?
What I'm saying is, I don't care about going to the game.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Like, that's what I mean. I may just go to the city.
I got you.
And watch the game in the area. And people are asking, James, why would you go to Chicago? That's like the best airport to fly into, and most people commute over the South.
You just want chicken wings in Atlanta.
I would have loved to get some Magic City chicken. You know today's National Chicken Wing Day, right?
Every day is National Chicken Wing Day. I think you said that 10 times in the last year.
It was legitimate. There was a hashtag today.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's got to be true.
If it's on Twitter, it's apparently true. They didn't, because Twitter now, if you lie, they're gonna slap the little thing on you now. They'll ban your account. They're gonna fact check you. So they didn't fact check this one.
Well, I'm sure we'll get back into ACC talk, but more big news today is a couple more coronavirus related. What is it? The corona injury report or whatever like that is for the Jags.
Right. It doesn't mean they have it.
Right. But a couple more have gone on it. But the bigger news in the NFL are the players opting out of play.
Right.
There's one that I'm actually shocked about. I'll tell you who that is coming up next. Yeah. It is the Sports Den, continuing on a Wednesday night. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you're like, wait, that's a different backdrop. We are not in the studio. I kind of get used to this, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I get
chairs are comfy.
Home pretty quick. Get to my cigar, especially tonight. This is going to be the big test.
Yeah, because it's later.
Yes, a little bit later on that. So I'm getting to my smokes a little bit.
I don't know that my wife is going to be too thrilled with this. Like, we have this all set up right in the living room. Yeah. She's gimping around here on her crutches.
I feel bad. She's moving good,
though. Players have started to opt out at the NFL level. Now, before we get into that, here's what that means is if you just opt out, so if you just say, look, I don't want to play, and there's no medical hardship or medical concern, I don't know the right word that they're using, but if you're not at risk, then you get $150,000.
Right.
You do not get an accrued season.
They changed that?
You get it if you have a medical reason you were off.
Okay, because I was on Jaguars today and I was asking that. I specifically, I was like Demetrius Harvey, which I was shocked he sounded the way he sounded. It didn't sound bad. I just, you look at somebody, you don't, oh, that's how you sound. I'm sure people do that to me all the time. But he was like, he thought it was accrued. I'm like, man, that's 150 and you ain't playing and an accrued season. That's generous. Like, I don't want to hear anything about the big bad owners anymore.
That's my understanding. But if you have, I mean, listen, asthma is there's.
Well, did you hear the one, like, it, and again, there's privilege for everyone. Some privileges are just a little bit different than others in different areas.
Okay.
I always tell people, like, if we're in Tallahassee outside of COVID, and you want to enjoy the FSU game in a different way than you would ever, there's a privilege in being with me. Then there's the privilege that everybody's been, protesting and things about. Well, there's the African American privilege, apparently.
Okay.
Because one of the things that, if you're African American, you're more susceptible. Apparently, that's one of the opt-outs.
Is it really?
That's what I saw. So 70% of the league can just say, yeah, bump it. Rub me my money. Now, even though I wouldn't do it if I'm making, like,
they're not giving you the money. It's going to be taken out of your future earnings.
Really?
Yeah, that's the way I understand this.
Oh, okay. So you're okay.
So it's an advance, basically.
Now it makes more sense.
Right. I was talking to, I'll leave him unnamed, an unnamed Jaguar player today, and he was talking about he technically could qualify for this, but he's like, man, why am I gonna go take 350 G's when I'm making $3.5 million?
That was going to be my point. Is that unless there's one player that I 100% understand his position and I really respect it, that's Marquise Goodwin.
Yes.
Marquise, if you didn't see the ESPN special on him and his wife, they made it weird when they said that they thought they were like brother and sister, because they do. Once you hear that, you kind of
that's a little.
They kind of do look alike, and they're both very fast. But anyways, it's like they had the first baby. The first time she had a miscarriage. The second time they were pregnant with twins, stillborns. So he's got his baby girl, and this is what he's wanted. They've been trying and trying. He's like, hell no! If there's anything that could possibly cause this, I've had way too much stress and strife that came with it.
There's another player that just had cancer, that just survived cancer, and he's opted out. Obviously, that's all understandable. There's one that opted out later on in the day-to-day. He dropped at 450. That when I heard it, I thought, oh, now I don't know his situation. I don't know why he's opted out. Damian Williams. So Damian Williams is the running back for the Chiefs. If you remember, he had a big playoff.
He's opting out because they brought in the running back.
So
we know why you're opting out.
I'm sitting here when I heard that, my first thought was, wait a second now. Like, you've got a chance. You just had a big playoff run. You've got a chance to make some money this year. And by opting out, you're putting this cat, was it Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yes.
Who was the LSU running back. You're basically handing him a job you probably won't get back.
Right.
So if there's a health concern that Damian Williams has, then I will take this all back. But if there's not, bro, this is a big risk on his part.
I won't take this back. Not at all. We're not knocking him. You're stating the obvious. They drafted a running back in the first round. Whether you say it or not, they were going to try to see what this young man has. And he actually, the one thing that everybody consistently said was that he matches their offense. Mm-hmm. They actually got better.
Right when you heard the pick, you thought, wow, that's brilliant.
They messed around and let the Chiefs get the one piece that we didn't want them to have for relatively cheap. Yeah. He's basically a high second-round pick. But I was talking again with Fat Tony. I've been on Jaguars Today most of the week. And the thing is that it's going to create it's going to be good for the game. And I mean this by saying that there's a lot of guys who are going to get opportunities and get chances that would have never gotten those chances. We were talking about how preseason really helps the five undrafted rookie free agents every year on average, on different teams and whatnot. Or the 5 guys that would not have normally made a roster, but they got a chance to get preseason reps. Well, right now, guys opting out. Big name guys opting out.
Like half the Patriots.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I 100% believe the anonymous person that sent the reporter a text. Somehow, Bill is behind all.
Oh, there's no doubt. He's getting that number 1 pick, bro.
They just showed the Davian Clowney what he needed and how much cap space they have now. Mm-hmm. And it all starts to make
I didn't even think about that. I was thinking more along the lines of let's go ahead and get Trevor.
Oh, that. I mean, I don't see him being. I think he's too much of a winner to take. But I understand that too. That can make sense. But I'm thinking like there's defense in positions like defensive tackle where you consistently know that this guy is good coming out of college. But when we think about Malik Jackson, who was a late draft pick, but came in and cemented himself with the Denver Broncos. When you think about, there's a bunch of guys who are like that. When you see Eddie Goldman say with the Chicago Bears say, "I'm not going to play," that opens up an opportunity for somebody like that. There are other. It's for the teams that have older guys who have made their money. It also brings about parity for the younger teams like the Jaguars, who don't have those guys that have made their money. So I believe in the next 3 to 4 years, you can see something to where the level of play gets increased because you have more talented players that are more talented because of opportunity.
To put a bow on the Damian Williams situation, so it's being reported he's going to get the $150,000. So apparently he doesn't have a medical reason.
It's $250,000?
$150,000. Okay. He was set to make $1.85 million this year. His contract, and I think this is where the confusion is, and this is the way I understand it. I could be wrong. His contract will toll to the 2021 season, and he'll receive $150,000 advance. So I don't think they get the accrued year. I think it just counts as a year on the contract.
Okay.
So the obvious thing is, what does this mean for Unique Ngakoue? Can he opt out, avoid fines? Get him $150,000.
But if he does it, it has to erase the franchise tag, and now you have to deal with this next year.
I guess. I don't know. I'd love to hear.
And the team can't trade for you. If a team trades for you,
no, that's correct.
Once you take the opt out, you can't come.
What's the opt out deadline? Have you heard?
No, I'm pretty sure they're going to let him. They'll probably let him do this on camp. Because what happens if you get it?
Like, then you're IR.
No, but what I'm saying,
like, you're getting paid.
Oh yeah, actually, I'd rather do that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my chances. This was asking me on Mark Rogers TV. Again, I got name dropped because I need these. I need y'all to go check these things out. The more views, the better our brand comes up. The more cool stuff we get to do. The better brands of alcohol they get put out there from ABC 5 Water Spirits. Well, James, would you play? James Coleman now, depending on how big the check is, but what I would do is what we've seen a lot of NCAA coaches say they're going to do. I'd send everybody home, and when I say everybody home, you're going to Florida. Get away from me. I'm going to hold up in here and do what I got to do. Like, that's the only way I would do it. But if I'm Marquise Godwin and this baby new, I want to experience that part, because it is dope. It's been very dope dealing with the baby experience with Trey and the baby experience with Kai. Now, who's I would welcome to sleep, but he's old enough now to where, all right, dude, I'll see y'all in December. I'll see y'all in January, or I'll see y'all at worst. I'll see y'all at the bottom.
Yeah,
I'll have y'all come to me.
I mean, the thing about it is you're being tested every day.
Right.
You're getting results pretty quickly. You're getting the antibody tests on the regular. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are things, even if you want to air quote quarantine away from your family for the season, like we've heard about some of the coaches. There's probably opportunities in there to see them. Right? I mean, the reality is you and I go home each day, and because we're not tested every day, we could be carrying it home now, and we don't know it. Mm-hmm. If you're an NFL player, there's not as likely because of how frequently you're being tested, right, and how quickly you're getting the results. Lifetime Enclosures text line, I just went to that. Girl Danielle says Notre Dame is not in our conference.
Yeah, they are now. No matter how much we want to deny it, it's not like Clemson being a rival. Like that's made up. But this is officially on paper right now. Notre Dame's in our conference as of right now.
Tell me what this means. 864 earlier sent ACC screws FSU. What a shot! How did they screw FSU?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I guess maybe our schedule could be easier, but we would be FSU if that. Like, I don't know what Florida State fans want. Like, that's confusing. Like, you want everybody to give Coach Norvell a pass because of COVID in first year and recruiting, but you pay him $5 million minus the 25% or whatever he's taking off. It's still a lot of money. He accepted that. Like, that comes with the territory. You have to recruit.
He went to a place with expectations.
Yeah, you went to a place with expectations, and you're playing against teams with cats. Mm-hmm. You can't just, if all you got to do, if you have to develop your way out of that situation, that's good to have that talent. But imagine if you could just develop 4 and 5 stars. Imagine how much better you would be. But I understand that's a lack, that's a critique, fine. But then you complain, well, now we have this, we should, like, we're in a big boy conference. It happens. Like, what do you want? Mm-hmm. I mean, go be a fan of a school in Conference USA.
All right, UCF's got room on the bandwagon.
I mean, UCF fan is begging for Florida State schedule. Mm-hmm. Florida State fan is like, well, we need to rebuild. No. I don't. And this is no knock on Mike, because I don't believe Mike Norvell is just sitting there saying, oh, God, look at the schedule. No. This is the schedule they gave us. It's the opportunity. We're going to come out here. We're going to win these games. Take that mindset. And if he doesn't win the games, guess what? He gets critiqued for it. You eat what's on your plate. Period.
813 on the Lifetime Enclosure text line says, what bookend bottles y'all have there? So if you're watching on Facebook Live, you see the whiskey bottles we have, all from ABC. Every one of them. The bookend bottles are Brixton Mash. Yeah, if you can get it, get it. If they've got it in stock, if you go to ABC and there's Brixton Mash there, grab it. Grab all they have. You won't regret it. You'll thank us for it. Let's see. If Clemson and Notre Dame, this is from 728, playing the ACC title game and they split both games, they play, who goes to the college football playoff?
The one that the team picks.
The one that wins the title game, right?
Yeah, the title. The ACC champion.
Right. And he says, I know I'm biased, but Notre Dame should be second best team by a pretty good margin. I don't see anyone else playing Clemson for the ACC. I would agree with that. Let's see. Bert said he would like to be in a foxhole with James. Okay. All right.
That was weird.
654 says, James, if you go to Notre Dame, they're in.
Who's that?
654.
Okay.
I don't know. No idea. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to Hate O'Clock. Hopefully you have Hate O'Clock. I actually do. I got one. Okay. On Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Like actual Major League Baseball. I took up for him the other night. I'm not going to take up for him tonight. We'll get to Hate O'Clock coming up next. 8 o'clock brought to you every single night by Loose Air Quality, Luce airquality.com. Environmental testing for your home or your business. Get to Loose Air Quality. You don't want crappy air, man. You don't want to live that way. You're staying in the house to be safe. If you have bad air, you're not really being safe. Don't subject your family to that. If you've got mold issues, it's not just going to go away. Find out what's going on with your air quality. Get to Loose Air Quality, Luce airquality.com, or give them a call at 904-803-1014. That's 904-803-1014. If you are a realtor, probably want to talk to them. You don't want clients moving into houses with bad air quality. You probably don't want to sell houses with bad air quality. Get that taken care of. Loose Air Quality, Luce airquality.com. My 8 o'clock is Major League Baseball.
Okay. Why do you hate baseball?
Did you see the incident last night with Joe Kelly?
Apparently he hit people. He hit somebody.
Well, he threw at the dude's head 3 times.
That's frowned upon, right?
Unless it's the Astros.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Now, Joe Kelly has a history. You would like Joe Kelly if you really
I just saw Joe Kelly's IG.
Did you?
It was awesome. It was very petty.
Yes, you would like Joe Kelly. He's got a history of doing this. In a normal season, if you want to suspend Joe Kelly 8 games, cool. When you're only playing 60, that's kind of hefty, isn't it? I mean, he's doing what everybody was going to do in a full season, which is throw at the Houston Astro batters. That was going to happen. If you put on a uniform for the Astros and you step into the plate, you know there's a high likelihood you could get thrown at for the cheating scandal.
Well, I mean, now if somebody tries to do it again, they're probably going to get more than 8 games. You can't have it. I mean, you can't.
What do you mean can't have it?
It's an unwritten rule. It's the unwritten part of the game. I respect it, but there's a written part of the game that comes with it, and that's the rules. If you do it, you're going to get 8 games, and you possibly can get more. So if you want to, we talk about guys going out of the boat and being selfish, eating wings. That is selfish. If you do this and you're suspended for 8 games in a 60-game schedule because of some unwritten rule, you are stupid, especially if you're one of the top pitchers.
I can promise you this: out of all of the sports shows done today in the country, nobody talked about Joe Kelly and compared it to eating wings at a strip club.
Right.
I love it.
I'm not saying I don't.
I love that you just made that comparison.
But what I'm saying is
you may have just changed my mind.
Because let's see here. What is 8? No, I'm doing this wrong. Yeah, no, I'm doing it right. So that's 13% of a season. Was that the first game?
No, it was the 4th game.
So that's even worse.
Right, but he's a pitcher, so he's only going to throw once out of every 4 games.
So he doesn't. So he's only miss 2 games.
Suspension.
He's only missed 2 games.
But he gets docked 8 games pay, I'm sure.
Oh, so I guess they do pay him per game. I mean, listen. I get it. If there are more games, I would say make sure you connect. But
that's the problem. So Angie and I were sitting here watching this last night, and I missed it. I just saw the benches cleared. And I didn't know what happened. And I told Angie, I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to happen. They're supposed to be like ejecting people because you can't brawl without a mask on or without, can't do that. And then they showed the replay, and my man threw at his head and missed. Threw at his head and missed. Threw at him again and missed. It's like, okay, if you'd gone one time at him, and then moved on.
Yeah, make me aware.
Right.
I got you. All right, dog. I know why you're doing this.
And then when he was walking off the field, what really started was this facial expression he made at the batter. It was like something you would see in like a kindergarten class. It was almost like that, and then that's when everything kind of broke loose.
And see, I guess it means something more to me because this is why I didn't play baseball. Because I got hit in the small of my back twice. When I was in 4th grade. And nobody else got hit. I just got hit. So the first time I got hit, I'm like, okay, that kind of hurt. Whatever. Put my bat down, jog the first. Same time I come up there, he hits me in the exact same spot, storm him out, get my hands on him. and it took some adults to get to some strong adults to get my hands off it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe like when you get older and you're in the bigs, it's not a 60-mile-per-hour fastball.
No, it was 96.
It's 96, and what if he reacts and moves the wrong way? Like you're yielding a deadly weapon, dude.
Well,
and I should be able to take my bat to your knee if you're able to do that. And at least let me get you. Now, if you got hands like Nolan Ryan, God bless. Do what you got to do. But I guarantee you probably don't, and you're gonna have to feel this because it wasn't just me with the Astro. It was like I just think it's uncalled for.
Well, let me read what I'm on ESPN.com with this. It says Kelly denied intent after a Dodgers 5-2 win, saying, "My accuracy isn't the best." After his 3-0 96-mile-per-hour fastball sailed behind Bregman, Kelly threw 4 pitches high to Astros first baseman Yuli Gurriel, I think that's how you say it, and later brushed back Correa with a couple of inside curveballs. After he struck him out, Kelly made a pouty face at the Astros shortstop as he walked off the field. And then the Astros manager claimed that Kelly also yelled, "Nice swing, but yeah, something I can't say on it." Mm-hmm. So maybe I don't hate this as much. Maybe you've kind of convinced me.
But I mean, like I said, I'm not.
He was all in on it. He didn't back off. He didn't apologize.
And that's what I appreciate the most about it, is that he did not apologize. Because I hate stupid apologies because you were forced and you don't mean it. You're going to do it again. Like, just be like, if I had to do it all again, I wouldn't change a thing. And I would be like, you know what, bravo, see you after your 2-game suspension. But the reality is, it's two different. It's no matter how you shape it, he's going to miss significant. He's going to miss 2 games. And if they're out of the playoff hunt by 2 games, then you have to, or by 1, even if it's by 1. I doubt it. I don't know if they're any good or not. You would have to educate me.
Yes,
they are. So I mean,
one of the favorites.
They'll be fine. My man Lou, they gonna be in the playoffs no matter what. I think he's missing 1 playing game or something like that. Have you seen the pictures?
Yeah,
the presentation is amazing.
They'd still be there after the season.
Yeah, they will be. He's missed 1 game. If 1 game for a funeral and some wings, I'm gonna go with that. That's cool. Like that doesn't affect. Now, if he was with the Pelicans and they still got to win a couple games to be able to get in, Lou, you're being real selfish, bro. Being real selfish.
Still being selfish.
Yeah, he is.
All right, what about Rutgers?
Where
are we at on Rutgers?
That was the ultimate. Like, for Shiano to be such a disciplinarian, for like that to be like.
So to catch people up, Rutgers has had an outbreak of COVID-19. It came from an on-campus party that several athletes attended, and that's what led to the outbreak. This forced the entire team into a 2-week quarantine in New Jersey. Yeah, Shiano's not going to be happy about this one. I'm trying to see who this is. That was New Jersey State Health Commissioner said during a news briefing in Trenton on Wednesday that there have been several circumstances where indoor and outdoor gatherings in our state have led to community clusters of COVID-19. She included the party at Rutgers as one of the number of gatherings that led to coronavirus outbreaks. 15 players currently have tested positive.
It's foolish, man. That's where it's I don't know what to tell you. Like it's we said kids be kids, and I understand it, I respect it. But man, like I need to see your papers, man. I just like, and I understand there are young people dying. There are young people getting the best of it. It is. We can say it's like the flu, and I get it. I know people die of the flu every year. I've never seen. I don't know anybody who's ever died of the flu, personally. Mm-hmm. I know people who have died of COVID. So I'm not knocking that comparison. I'm just telling you, I've had the flu, and I've never felt like I was going to die. And I've had good flu. Like I've had some solid ones. And if it is like the flu, what's even scarier, knowing people have died of COVID, that means it's going to mutate. That's because that's what makes the flu the flu. is that it mutates every year, and at best, it's a guess when you get it. Just take it serious enough to know that it could actually affect you. What bothers me, well, we're on late, so it doesn't matter. It bothers me to see college students treat this like it's an STD. Mm-hmm. Like most of y'all, I know that we see the rates. Every college campus has their own version of not gonorrhea. Of herpes, a herpes complex. So that means to tell me that people are allergic to condoms. They don't use them. Mm. They're going in there because they're young and they're giving gifts. They keep on giving. That's the only way to be able. That's the only way. Like you're using COVID with the same thought process. The difference is, while herp and all these other ones may make your life uncomfortable, this right here could kill you and give people who haven't given you consent to cough on them and to be around them. And it can also ruin college football for a lot of people who actually do care. And for a Power 5 school to have guys who want to go to the NFL, I just don't understand how the thought process could be that.
Yeah, it won't be the last time we hear this, though. Now, I don't know, educate me on something. What's going on college campuses right now? Are there students in class in college?
And that's the part where I just don't. Who is on campus?
Right. I mean, I'm being serious. Are there colleges that are open right now for students? Maybe, or is everything still online?
Maybe what happened was there are some people who don't have anywhere to go, and they do have on-campus housing, so they can make this money. But you have to, because like I was telling, like my daughter goes to Southern next week, and they're in the dorms
with no class.
With no class, they just ain't got nothing to do. They ain't going to class in September. Sometime in September.
You're kind of begging for this to happen on the college level if that's the game plan. Man, put a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds on college without making them go to class. What are they going to do?
Have sex, party, get fat because they're going to eat
and drink
bad food and drink.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, what if you
commit violence, do a whole bunch of other stuff?
What if you'd been in college and didn't have to go to class?
The first week. So when we moved into, was it a week? I believe it was a week because we had a whole bunch of orientations and things that we had to do. When I went to school, summer B, when I went to Florida State, they got us there. We had to check in our dorms. I think we moved in on that Sunday. That Monday was orientation, get your books, blah, blah, blah. Parties, debauchery, every movie that you've ever seen about college, that happened for that whole week. And that was a week. Now, if we would have had a whole month, we would have been broke. Some people would have flunked out, broke in, pregnant, all kinds of bad things would have happened. But we have a little more time, or we got a break?
Okay, you got a couple minutes. Go. All right. What you got?
My 8 o'clock is my university did the right thing. But now it's come to light of why they had to do the right thing. Florida State severed ties, and I found out about this a few months ago. Oh. They severed ties with one of the contractors, the construction people who do basically the majority of their stuff. I know one of the main people who work there. And she's a phenomenal person. She just told me that he dressed up like Bob Marley at some party and it was innocent. I'm thinking, like, I seen a white kid dress up as Malcolm X. He didn't look anything like Malcolm X, but he had on the suit, he had on the thing, he had the Malcolm X glasses. I was like, good parenting. That's how you do it. Okay. Tell people we're fine. There's one rule. If you don't want to be labeled a racist, okay, if you can at least follow this rule, no matter what you say, you have an argument for the most part. Okay. Don't ever, by any circumstances, ever. And when I say ever, I mean ever. Never right. Do blackface. There is no explanation for it. There is nothing. There's no coming. It is the fastest way to end your career. No matter, you could give to the United Negro College Fund. You could go find a bunch of Somalian kids to feed and adopt. You can join. You can paint Black Lives Matter in front of your house. You still dressed in blackface. Like, it's no coming back from it. And the guy, I believe the guy is a good guy. But you know what Bob Marley looks like, right?
Yeah.
Does that look anything like Bob Marley?
No.
Bob Nestor Marley does not look like that.
No.
I don't know if I like the joke about being dark skinned, and I'm trying to get dark.
That doesn't.
Bob Nestor Marley is my complexion, maybe a little lighter. He is not tar. All black, you cannot. The real reason is this: there's only one white person who's ever been able to find the right complexion of black and pull it off. And I actually think it was great acting, a great movie, and it was played into the character. And that's Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder when he played. He was the white guy that played the black guy, trying to be whatever it was. But it wasn't smut. It wasn't like it looked like his skin tone. To be honest with you, you could have argued they just looked like a Cajun.
Right.
Like because there are some white people who are really dark. Tan. Danny Capasso's damn near as dark as me sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that would have been respectable. Then to be honest with you, I would have been like, you know what? I want to yell at you, I want to cuss you out, but I know you paid some money to be able to try to attempt to do it the right way.
Right.
But when you just take dirt or like
it looks like he went and he's been grilling out or sitting by like a fire pit.
Like you because and I felt sorry at first. Because everybody likes Bob Marley. And I just called me naive.
Sure, what, didn't dress up as Rohan?
Rohan ain't that dark. There isn't a Marley that dark. There is no Marley that looks the complexion of midnight.
Right.
Of smut, of tar, of all those different things. Like just to be honest with you, the picture that I showed you, and I'll put it up on our sportsden IG. Had he just worn the hat and the T-shirt, would you have got it?
Well, sure. As much as I got that, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like,
show me that again. Let me see it again. And the dress.
This was in the hat has the dress.
Oh, the hat's okay.
The hat has the dress.
Yeah.
Could you have just gotten that with that?
Yeah.
But let me ask you, because I might be, because sometimes I'm willing to admit that sometimes maybe people do take things they get a little too sensitive or something. Does the extra stuff on the face, does that sell it more? Does that make him look more like Bob Marley?
Okay. Well, okay.
I mean, seriously.
Honestly, like, yeah, because it's like you don't know how white the guy really is.
Well, he has it on his arms too, so I can't. I really.
You know what I mean?
Know.
I mean, if we're being honest, like the guy said, "I'm going as Bob Marley. How can I do this?" He did a crappy job of it. Should have never done it in the first place. But if you're asking me, does it make him look more like Bob Marley than what he probably looks like in reality? Probably.
It makes him look. It makes it look like, okay, I'm going for black guy here.
Well,
that's
what you asked me.
But what I'm saying is,
Bob Marley's not white, is he?
No, but he could have legit dread. Everybody knows Bob Marley by dreads. They don't know him by looking like a cold, like somebody
I'm just
barbecue
answering your
cold.
question.
No, I personally think he was okay with the Bob Marley outfit until he decided
it would have been wise
to dip himself in ashes from a barbecue. Like, why? Why? Like, why? What is it? Like, what is it? Forget the blackface thing for a second. What went through your mind that says, you know what? I'm going to set it off at this Halloween party. I'm going to cover myself in ashes. And I'm going to walk in here. I'm a multi-millionaire.
Well,
I'm a multi-millionaire with everything to lose. I have a print shop. I have a mix in my job. I have a contract with Florida State for everything, for a college campus. Every time they want to build something, they call me.
But
I'm going to dump
answer
myself
your
in
own
ash.
question until you see the rest of the party.
If the rest of the party... Man, you know what? Man, it might have been the.
You know what I mean?
It might have been the right party of like David Duke and a bunch of those other guys were hanging out there. It could have been.
He was comfortable enough at that party that he is there, and somebody's arm is around him, and he's taking a picture.
Like, man,
if he walks into your party looking like that, are you putting your arm around him and taking a picture with him?
Not at all, man.
Okay, then that's my point. Like that, you got to know his whole surroundings.
I'm gonna be like, yo, my man.
Leave.
Actually, me would be the first person that he would want to see. he probably wouldn't want to see other folks because they probably would not entertain him with the civility in which that I would. But I mean, I'm just taken aback. I'm like, wow.
We got to take a break. RJ's back at the studio, probably losing himself here. NFL Top 100. We haven't talked about that at all, have we?
No.
Let's get to that. We'll get to that next. So sportsden brought to you by thehumidor.com. Make sure you get to thehumidor.com for all of your cigar needs. Huge selection of cigars, already low prices. When you check out, you type in sportsden, all lowercase, all one word, and you get 20% off. It's a deal. Mm-hmm. The NFL Network's been doing their top 100. The top 10 came out today. I wish you wouldn't have looked at the list because I'd love to have got this. I don't know a world where I agree with a top 10 where Patrick Mahomes isn't number one.
Yeah, I think that's extremely disrespectful. Even if I can almost respect top 2, but I definitely don't think he's 2. But where he's at, I think that's extremely disrespectful.
The top 10, counting from 10 to 1. Derrick Henry at 10. Stephen Gilmore at 9. D-Hop at 8. George Kittle at 7. Christian McCaffrey at 6.
Who's that? A tight end?
Dude,
I know he's good.
He's special, man.
Jeez.
Michael Thomas at 5. Patrick Mahomes at 4. Aaron Donald at 3. Russell Wilson at 2. And Lamar Jackson at 1.
Lamar Jackson's barely considered a tier 3 quarterback per anonymous GMs and former head football coaches.
Former GMs.
I thought he said, okay, former GMs.
But point taken. For me, it would have gone Mahomes. Probably Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Donald, Lamar Jackson. Would have probably been my top 5.
CMC is not even top 10?
Yeah, he's 6.
6?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see the problem I have right now is you got 2 running backs in your top 10 in a position that everybody says is expendable. Even though this is supposedly voted on by the players.
It's the top 100 players of 2020.
Right. And it just doesn't make, to me, that just doesn't make any sense. But I don't think him or Derek, I think both of them should be outside the top 10.
Is Derek legitimately a top 10 player? If you're going to start a team and
that's what
you're taking your top 10, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
Over Derek, yes.
I'm taking him. If I've got 10 picks, he's one of them. There's no doubt. Derek, he's great, but
he's not. You're 100% right.
Jags didn't have anybody, right?
No.
Should they?
Yes.
Should they have?
Yes. Yeah.
DJ
Chark. Just based upon solely.
What does it say that Unique Ngakoue's not in?
Well, this
player smoke, right?
This season didn't justify being in. He had an okay year. If over his career, he's one of the top pass rushers. Just in 2019, he wasn't. Top defensive in 2019, he wasn't. But based upon what the list showed, Kyler Murray is in it.
He's at 90.
Kyler Murray statistic. I talked about this with Fat Tony on Jaguars Today. Unlike some people on the station where they joke and say I'm not a Minshew defender, but I am a consistency guy, and I am a right is right, wrong is wrong guy. When I look at 3,200 yards in 10 football games, and I look at 3,700 yards in 14 football games, when I look at 12 interceptions in 14 games, and I look at 6 interceptions in 10. When I look at 21 touchdowns in 10, and I look at 20 in 14. All of that screams that one guy did more with less. That guy also took a gunner from the second round and transformed him into the Pro Bowl. Now, you can say that gunner helped him out as well.
Right, and DJ Chark.
But the other guy has a Hall of Famer at wide receiver with him. And he has Christian Kirk, who's also considered one of the top young wide receivers. And then his next production, so you got 800, 700, 300. That's the next production. Whereas you took the other guy who was a 6th-round draft pick. He's got, what was it? I don't know, 1,000 something. 800 with a guy who nobody thought he would get that, and Chris Conley, who was hurt. Then you got a 700 and another wide receiver, and then you got 600 by your running back.
Yeah.
That 300 guy,
Your
by
best
the
tight
way,
end went down.
yeah, that 300 guy, by the way, for Kyler Murray was his running back David Johnson, and he had 350 yards. So what I'm saying is that what it looks like. I'm not saying Kyler shouldn't be 90. I'm not even suggesting that Minshew should be right ahead of him. But if Kyler Murray is 90, then Minshew should be. It should be an argument between 100 and 91 that Gardner should be in there. A Pro Bowl wide receiver, whether he made it as an alternate or not, should be in the top 100 guys, just based upon what the Pro Bowl means. And his stats state that he should possibly be in.
Well, there's a couple things. Ronnie Stanley at 74 is a joke. Ronnie Stanley should be in the top 20. He's one of the best tackles in the game. One of the most important positions. He's at 74. There's names that pop out on this that, because they're not local, you forget, and then you go, yeah, they were really good, and I'm excited to see them the next year. I'm excited to see what Josh Jacobs does. When we talk about running backs, we talk about Derrick Henry, we talk about Christian McCaffrey, we talk about Fournette and Zeke and dude in New York, Saquon and all those guys. We never bring up Josh Jacobs. I never hear Josh Jacobs brought up. That's a guy that in the next 2 or 3 years we may be talking about like we talk about the rest of these guys. And he's that talented.
Yeah.
He had a great rookie year. Reading through some of these other ones. Okay, I don't have the stats in front of me, but let me ask you right now: Tyler Lockett or DJ Chark?
Good question. I'll take DJ. I'm gonna be a homer.
Yeah, I mean Tyler Lockett is 65. So if he's 65, then DJ probably should have been in the top 100.
And that's all I'm suggesting. I'm not saying where they should be at.
Yep.
I'm just saying that they deserve it.
Alvin Kamara. Wow. 42nd? There's 41 better football players than Alvin Kamara?
Based on last year, yeah. Again, he was a 14. He didn't do it like he.
I got you. But a lot of these guys, Von Miller didn't do it like that either. And Von Miller's at 26.
I think Von Miller is
J.J. Watt.
I talked about that. Von Miller, J.J. Watt, Tom Brady are going to get voted in there as long as they're playing in the NFL.
And the other thing I got a big problem with, how are you going to put Drew Brees at 12? Drew Brees is still playing like one of the 5 best players in the league. Mm-hmm. When Drew Brees goes on the field, you got a chance to win. Doesn't matter who's around you.
I think when you get into that 20 range,
I'll take Drew Brees over George Kittle. To your point,
right?
Sorry.
What you're saying is when this guy's in the field,
yeah, I'm scared.
We truly have to account for him because he's going to change the game, and we have a chance to win. If it's an offensive player, we have a chance to win. If he's on the field as a defensive player, he's going to disrupt.
Where was Jalen? Let me see if I can find Jalen Ramsey. Somebody knows. Hit us up. I mean, he's got to be in here, right? 37. Okay, 37.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 former Jags on this list. Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell was 79. And I saw receiver that we let go to
A-Rob?
A-Rob was, yeah, he's 93. So 3 former Jags make the top 100.
You just simply can't be a top franchise if your top talent is continuing to perform elsewhere. Got to be able to keep it, even though Calais should have been able to retire a Jaguar.
Yes, agree, completely. The other one I don't know, like Richard Sherman, is he still playing at that level?
Yeah,
is he?
Well, and the only reason I know that is because of the arguments that him and Revis have been having on Twitter, going back and forth at each other. And people have placed the stats, and some are with Revis being better than him, and some with Sherman being better than him, and he's still doing very well in that system. You know, somebody that found out that a teammate of mine that I found out was a lot better in the NFL than I thought he was. Antonio Cromartie.
Oh yeah.
Like I knew he was good.
Yeah.
But like he was like
he and
really
Revis were locked down.
Yeah, like they. Yeah, like
they're the reason they went to those AFC championships.
I almost believe because when he first said like I got cut from the Colts because of taking the stand that I took. Oh yeah, no, bro, you might got cut just because it left you. But when I look back at the stats, I was wrong. I think I was wrong. Like Crow was.
It's impressive that he was that good when he spent so much time making babies.
Listen, man, that dude is probably one of the well, I'll go ahead and say it. It sounds bad, but yeah, he's one of the freakiest athletes I've ever seen.
More ways.
And like, yeah, so I mean,
by the way,
sorry, Crow, I didn't mean it to come out like that. But
let me get this off my chest because I keep hearing people on the radio talking about how Seattle gave up way too much for Jamal Adams.
How?
I don't understand what y'all are talking. Like, I've had the opportunity this year to watch a lot of NFL film with NFL players. Mm-hmm. What Jamal Adams can do is stupid.
Who's the safety that's with the Ravens that the Seahawks did lose? That did that had the issue.
The issue
with Earl. Yeah, Earl. Was it Earl Thomas?
I don't remember yet.
Fine, Earl.
Jamal Adams is a dude.
But what I'm saying is they got that, but younger.
Plus.
And here's what they have: 4th year, 5th year option, franchise tag. So you got him for 3 years. And we went through this with Fat Tony. You know how many first round picks Seattle's actually used in like the last 7 years?
Yeah.
Like 2.
Yeah, they're Patriot-like with that.
Where they make their money is mid-round picks, incorporating them in the defense, and letting them flourish. So really, where they were going to draft, at least 20 or lower. Mm-hmm. But you know what I call that is? So it's just a high second-round pick.
Yeah. So
you basically 2 high second-round picks, and your 3rd round pick was going to be a 4th round anyway. You flip it with the Jets, who's going to probably give you a high 4th round pick. You really didn't lose much. You got a guy who's a game changer, and if you believe you can win right away, you just made your team, your defense, a win right away defense.
You know what he does? He makes it so much harder for a quarterback to actually pre-snap read. Mm-hmm. Because they can play quarters coverage, and I don't mean to get too technical. They can play quarters coverage. And he can start the cadence at the line of scrimmage. I'm not saying he can as in I think he can. He's done it over and over and over again where he is one of the deep quarter players, and he starts to snap at the line of scrimmage. Like, you can't read that. You can't trust it. Even if you see it on film, you can't trust it. He's way worth what they gave up for him. Let's take our final break here on the Sports Den. We'll be right back to wrap things up. Reading some of the Facebook Live comments. Says this setup suits the sports den better.
And almost looks like a den of sports.
Somebody says it'd be better with recliners. Feel free to drop some off at the house if you want to. These chairs are actually pretty comfortable, though.
Yeah.
Not bad. But it would be nice to have something to prop my feet up on.
Yeah,
I agree.
Stretch my legs.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Joe Cool, if you're listening.
Yo, those things that, what did he do?
If he still got them, I was going to buy them, but it was right when COVID hit.
Yeah.
I still want them. If you've got them, I still want them, Joe Cool.
They're definitely not at the new spot.
No, they're in his garage, I think.
Really?
Yeah, if you've got them, I want them. I'll give you cash. Just going to need you to bring them by. Like, when can you have them here? And then we'll have our recliners. We can work it that way. Did we miss anything tonight? We get anything we wanted? Everything we wanted?
I mean, it's pretty solid. A lot of stuff, a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. We talked about all. We stayed on topic tonight.
For the most part. I mean, it's pretty good.
Maybe it's that studio. Maybe we're
There's a lot going on. It's just, like there's 2 TVs.
There's the producer.
This light is like right here in my eye.
Right.
So it's a little bit different.
Right. We kind of have to stay focused here, I guess. Yeah. You don't have the mic like falling in front of you.
Right.
It's like attached to
And
you.
you don't have to keep adjusting it.
Right.
There's no snack bar.
Correct. Correct.
We don't have to look at RJ.
Correct. Yeah.
Hey, things are just different.
RJ, you okay, man? You good?
I didn't mean it like that, RJ. I didn't mean it like that, RJ. Don't be sensitive.
RJ, can I ask you a question and you not get upset with me? Is there anyone within 25 feet of you right now? You still have your mask on? My man.
Now, the cleaning people got to be in there, going in and out of there, right? Or is that today?
My man.
So you're in there by yourself with a mask.
All right, we gotta go. That's why we love you, RJ.
So go watch Psych. You are the great guy for Psych.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, normal time, 8 to 10, right here. Join us on the Sports Den. Make sure you share the SoundCloud. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Y'all have a great, great evening. All right, man. Appreciate it. Got to turn. You don't have my phone.
I know.